Welcome back to World of Rockhounds. I'm Kyle. So in a previous video, I did a how-to arts and crafts video on how to make Berber carpet polishing pads for an angle grinder, and today we're going to be putting it to the test. So let's go ahead and see how it turns out. Okay, so for those that have an angle grinder and you don't have one that's sucked up to water, there is a way around it. You can do something like this. Just have a water pump that goes to wherever you're working. I have two hoses on. I showed this when I did the Dremel tool video. I have one that's actually I'm using for the water, and then I have the other one on as well to kind of help alleviate the pressure buildup for the pump so it doesn't have to work so hard. That way I can adjust this water as much as I want to, so I can have as little as I want or as much as I want, and I'll still have that backup pump removing the pressure, so I'm not having to worry about burning up my water pump. And then I have just a water container here for the water that will feed my work surface. And I also did this because, like, right now it's almost like 7:45, 8 o'clock at night. I really don't want to have to upset my neighbors. I'm sure they have to deal with enough sound that comes from the house anyway from using the grinders and stuff, so this would be a good setup if you're working out of a garage, so you don't have to worry about working outside. And this also helps me use the light that's in the garage to kind of help check the surfaces as I'm working, because I'm looking for those scratch marks to make sure I can get those scratch marks out. And I have on here an 800 grit sand disc. It's the 800. Since I'm using the 800 pad, so there's 700, and that'll have to be on the first setting. 900 would be on kind of in between, so we'll go 1.5 for the speed, and we're just going to work in circular motions, and then check our work every now and then to see if the scratch marks from the 400 are starting to wear away. Alright, I'm done with the 800 grit. I'm now on the 1500, and the recommended setting for this one, let's see here, the 16 is at 3, 1100 was at 2, so we want to be at 2.5 speed for this 1500 grit disc. Every so often I will dry off the surface. I just took the squeegee out of my truck. This has been super helpful. And then dry the rest with the rag. I'll show you what I'm looking at. So that's already getting a pretty good sand on it. But we're not going to be done yet, because I think after this stage, there is a 3000 grit pad, but I think I'm just going to skip that one and go straight to polish. I probably could have just gotten a polish from the 800, to be honest. But I think we're looking pretty good so far. Let's keep at it. Alright, we're all done with the 1500 pad. I moved the water pump out of the way because I don't need it anymore. This is just a smaller version of my Berber carpet polishing wheel. Same thing, we're going to dampen the carpet, and then we're going to get the cerium oxide on here. So we kind of want a little bit of a slurry, but not too much. And then just my preference, I think I might have mentioned this in a couple of videos, but I like to put a little bit of the cerium oxide on the sewn surface as well. Let's go ahead and dampen the carpet pad and not dunk it and the whole thing in the water. Just a little bit, not a whole lot. And if these pads are anything like the carpet wheel I have now, I mean, it's the exact same material, but assuming I take care of them, they should last a very long time. And I want to make any more for a while. Yeah, they're pretty easy to do. Now, since I had made these in that video, it's actually been longer than 72 hours. I actually made these Saturday. It is now currently Wednesday, soon to be Thursday. So the glue that I use for these, it's at its best possible cure, I guess you can call it. We want to go ahead and go on the lowest setting, which is the 1. That's going to be the lowest setting. just because the RPM on my polishing wheel is actually pretty low. It's pretty low spin. So we kind of want to have the same deal with this. So we just put a low spin on there, and away we go. I am really glad I had this black container out here because I don't know if you guys can see it in the video, but it is making a mess. I'm also wearing my ratty clothes, so I don't have to worry about getting my nice clothes dirty. Go ahead and flip this around. The other side. And it's no different from using the big carpet polishing wheel where I add plenty of pressure, because adding pressure for this process is good if you want to get a really good shine. Okay, final verdict. Big stone is now polished. This is the top cut, and so I want to do a comparison. Before I do want to say I am not an expert with this piece of equipment. This is still new to me. I'm still figuring stuff out. There's a lot of learning curves around it, and I will say that right now because I did a video on this earlier and I had to redo everything because I did not like how it turned out. I am my own worst critic. If I see an issue, I will start completely from scratch and until I'm happy with it. That being said, so far I like using this for smaller stones, just because of the smaller surface area. So like this piece of granite right here, I used that on the piece of granite because for whatever reason I was having issues with it, and that was great. I had just got the stone in a wooden vise so it wouldn't go anywhere, and used this on the surface. I got all the scratches out, so that was great. I just had for whatever reason issues with using this on a much larger surface area. I was getting a lot of circular scratches in the surfaces, and I couldn't get them out for whatever reason. So what I did, I went to, please excuse the mess. I went to that machine over there, took off the hood, turned on the fan, wore a mask, and had the garage door open, and that way there was all the dust went that way, and I didn't get any dust in my lungs because we don't want that. So I used the 100 and 400 grit to sand this puppy down, so I have a straight striations, and also allowed me to get the previous scratches from these lower grits out that I couldn't get out with, because I started with the low grits and worked my way up, but for whatever reason I started with these, and the higher grits are really supposed to help get the scratches out, but I was having a really hard time, and again, I'm still new to this machine. There's still some learning curves. I'm sure once I get used to this, I won't have any issues with these. So that being said, 3,000 grits okay, but you don't get the same kind of high gloss that you would a polishing pad. So what we got right here is the result of the expanding drum set of the 100 and 400, the 800 grit disc for this, and then the 1500 disc for this, and then the Berber carpet polishing pad. This is a before cut. This is straight out the saw, no sanding. This has been bleached out in the sun for a few years, and then before that, it was actually sitting in a window. Again, getting more sunlight, getting this dark color to lighten up a little bit. You still see some saw marks. This is the before, and this is the after. Isn't that such a beautiful difference? It almost looks a little bit darker. I don't know if it's just because it had been polished or what, but I like this. There still will be some small scratches from the circular pads, but you can kind of see a little right there. But this is if I had to grade myself, I'd give myself, let me see here. I'd give myself A minus, just because I can see some small imperfections. Before I had redid everything, I gave myself like a C plus, C, just because of the amount of scratches I was seeing. So this is a huge improvement to what it was. So this is not going into my collection. One of my awesome subscribers actually bought this and had requested I get this polished. And so they will get to enjoy this for many years to come in their collection. And they had expressed interest in even buying the top half too. So I'm going to set this aside for them until that time comes. I'm really glad I got to do this. All right, couple things. First thing, since he didn't make front row the last couple of videos, he's going to be sitting front row right now. Second thing, now that we know that the Berber carpet polishing pad works for the angle grinder, I have a challenge for every single one of you that watches these videos to go out and make your own, because this is a great tool to have if you're just getting into sanding and polishing with an angle grinder and you need a good way to get a nice polish on your work. This is the way to go. That being said, let's go ahead and end this, and I'll see you guys soon. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Rock on.